So I'm in the dungeon of my basement. Today's bottling day for beer. Really excited. We have 24 or 23 rather bottles that I pre-cleaned that I had stored over here. I had them neck up for about a year, so they got dusty. So I just washed these out to make sure that they're ready for our next step. Some things we're going to try to do right now is to sanitize, make sure everything's prepared. And I got another 24 bottles that I have to sanitize, as well as our bottling bucket, our siphon, our bottling tube, our capper, hydrometer, graduated cylinder, etc. So let me show you how it works. So after that short time lapse, here's what I accomplished. We got these bottles sitting in sanitizer. I'll leave them in there for about 10 minutes. I don't know if you can tell, right at the bottom of this bucket has a spigot. That spigot is going to be what we use our siphon and our bottle tube for to fill these bottles as we keep going. So the last thing I'm going to do after that 10 minutes, I'm going to put it on my bottle rack here. I'm going to grab those other 24 bottles, but in between, I'm also going to be sanitizing a couple other things. We're going to need to put some priming sugar in there. So I got a measuring cup. We're going to need to be stirring, so I got to stir. We have our cylinder and our hydrometer to take our final gravity. We have parts for our auto siphon, so there's a pump on the auto siphon. That way we can get it from the carboy into our bottling bucket, and then those other bottles, and then I should be good. So once they're sanitized, you'll see everything in this bucket, and that's where I'll probably stop it, and then we'll show you the process of how we change from fermenter to bottling bucket. See you then. Okay, so we have the equipment being cleaned. One big thing, because this bucket has the spigot at the bottom, that's where all the beer is going to be running through. I'm going to make sure that after I clean this, after I get those bottles in, after I get the additional bottle sanitized on that top rack of my bottle dryer, that I make sure that I run this sanitized water through the spigot, as well as a little bit of beer, just to make sure that we clear out all those impurities. After that, I have a whole bunch of empty 6-pack containers. I'm going to be putting all the bottles in there, and our station's kind of going to look like this. We're going to have our glass carboy with our fermented beer up here. We're going to be using our siphon down into our bottling bucket somewhere down near the floor, and then we're going to use that bottling bucket a little bit higher with a siphon down to the bottles themselves after we put in that priming sugar. Then once we start putting into bottles, we'll move it over here, and I have 60 caps right here so that I can just use a capper, cap those, seal it in, get the carbonation started, and 2 or 3 weeks from now we'll be good. I'll show you the process now.
So we're going to sacrifice a little bit of beer.
Yeah. Also, I would rather let this siphon lose the siphon every once in a while to make sure that the depth that I have is correct.
Yeah.
You know what I
You
mean?
can kind of check it by leaning it against the glass.
I can't look, no matter how far I angle it, I can't see. The beer is so dense.
It's invisible.
Yeah.
Just be patient.
So as I'm editing here, I just want to be clear, the next time lapse you'll see is the bottling process. So I'll be in charge of capping. I got my dad helping me with making sure all the bottles are organized after they are capped, and then my stepdad is keeping that siphon going to put the beer into the bottles, and we just keep repeating the process. So enjoy. So here's the final product. I got about 36 of these. The whole batch made about 41, but you know, you got to give some of them away. All of them have my Brewer's Best cap and the Brewer's Best bottles, and these will store in a cool, dry place for about 2 to 3 weeks while they carbonate, and then we'll be ready to go.